Hello everyone, today I want to show you some rainbow sunburst cards that I've made using our brand new thin cut sunburst background. You will find it in our May-June catalogue and it's right here where all the new thin cuts are, and I looked at that and immediately thought rainbow patterns. Hang around until the end of the video. I've got an extra couple of cards to show you that aren't rainbow cards, but they formulated in my mind while I was making these rainbow ones here. So let's get on to making these. I'll show you quickly how this cuts out. You basically need a width that's about 4 1/4 inches or a little bit larger to put through your die cutting machine. So now that I've run that through, I've got the overlay type piece and then I've got all these other little pieces. And I've done this several times with just plain cardstock, run it through, sorted them out into piles, and then constructed some cards with them. The very first card that I made was this one here, and I've done some tone-on-tone stamping. So I picked out each piece. So the candy apple has got candy apple stamping on it, the grape has got grape, and so on and so forth. And I'll list all the colours below. What I've used to do the stamping are these background type square stamp sets that I've had in my stash for quite some time. They brought some out last collection as well. So if you have a background type stamp, these work really well to put onto the pieces. And I've just alternated them. I've used 3 different patterns. For this one here, I've used our stencils. In our annual core catalogue, September to August 2021, we brought out some stencils that are actually 12 by 12 inch stencils. In Stencil Pack 3, there is a grid pattern, and I've cut all of those up to make little square stencils. So on this card here, I've used 3 of the patterns. So I've used this chevron triangle type pattern, the dots, and the stripes. And I've alternated those. So I thought I'd show you how I've done this just on 2 of the sections, and then I'll complete the actual card. So I'm just going to use the stripes, place it over top. I've placed it over like that and positioned it roughly where I want it. I've got an old style White Daisy ink pad, but they are available in our new magnetic ones. And I don't need to tape this down because it's such a small area. I can hold this with my hands. And then I'm just using a pouncing method rather than a blending method to get in between the overlay section. And that's as easy as it is to do. You do usually need to set it aside for a while to dry, but I'm just going to use my tweezers and carefully pick up a section of it. So it really is just like playing with a jigsaw puzzle. And I'm just being a bit careful because I don't want to smudge the White Daisy ink that I've just done. And now that I've got all the pieces slotted in, I can put a sentiment on top. I've cut this with a stitch circle thin cut that I've got in my stash, and it's about a 1 1/4 inch. You can stamp directly onto this piece here, but I just wanted to pop it up a little bit. So that's done. And the sentiments that I'm using on all the cards today are from my stash. They're the short and sweet sentiments, and they're just tiny little ones. The other option you can do for sentiments is with this spot on sentiment set here, and you can stamp those into the section as well. The other card I want to show you today is one using an embossing folder and using all the little segments that I have cut out from various passes through with the thin cut in a rainbow order. I've laid them all out. And the reason why I've done this is because I want the pattern to be fairly consistent when I run it through my die cutting machine. So this way, when the dots, in this case, run from one bit to the next, it'll be like a continuous pattern. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I can just close that over and run this through my die cutting machine, and I'll be right back. So you can see that it's left an impression. It sort of reminds me a little bit of Lego bricks. So this would be a really cute, fun card for somebody who really loves doing Lego. So I'll set that aside, and I'm going to get a card base and fold this over. And then for this one, I'm going to use the white one that I just cut before. Now, I've played around with this, and you can use glue, but I find the dot roller the quickest way to put this together. The dots basically stick just to the piece of paper. And then I can simply lift it up, line it up on my card base, and adhere that down. And I don't have to worry about any residue of glue oozing outside, and I can just use my rub and remove eraser to clean up my all-purpose mat, because when you use an all-purpose mat, the glue doesn't actually stick to it. So it's a really good surface to work on. And now all I need to do is just quickly slot these pieces in. And now that they're all cut and run through, it doesn't take that long. Because the glue takes a little while to dry, I can do several pieces at once, and that speeds it along even more. So I'll speed this process up for you, but you can see how cool this is going to look with the impression from the embossing folder. And to put the sentiment on, I've cut some stitch circles. And I really love how these look so different with a black sunburst overlay to a white sunburst overlay. Now I've got some sequins here that I'm going to put on with some glue dots. I love how, oh look, I've got glue on my fingers. These ones here are from the silver sequins, and when you put them onto the cardstock areas, they pick up. I've selected these holographic type ones specifically. They pick up the colours from the piece that they're laying on and around them. So I'm going to quickly put those on with some glue dots. So you can see how those sequins really pick up the colours that are around them and add just that extra little gorgeous touch to the card. So here are the two cards that I've just made with the embossing folder. I think it adds such a great texture. I think it might be my favourite out of the rainbow cards that I've made. Here's the one with the stamping. The tone-on-tone stamping works really, really well. And some ink blending with a stencil. So they're three different style of cards with totally different looks that really pack a punch using the rainbow colours. Now I've got a couple of other cards before I show you the bonus cards at the end that I just had a little play with and I thought I'd share. This one I've used the frames from all of this cutting. Obviously you end up with a lot of pieces, which is great when you're making lots of cards. So I tried stacking them on and giving a bit of a shadow effect. I'm not 100% happy with it, but you do have to do a bit of fiddling. I had to cut an extra frame to edge this off because obviously you have to trim off the excess to keep it on the card base because it just keeps stacking down this way, and it looked a little bit untidy from this side to have all the bits overhanging. And I did try a black and white version with an embossing folder, but I used the stripes. So I think if I did this again, I would definitely do it just probably with a pattern like this dot pattern here. I think that works really, really well. And this way the stripes are not all quite lined up and everything, and it was a bit fiddly to do. So, but I wanted to show you those so you might get an idea and run with it and make it. And now I've got the two bonus cards where I've used a bit more of our mixed media. So the first one here is using Stickles glitter gel, and I've used the asteroid. So you can see how sparkly that is. It really is fabulous in real life. I don't know if the camera is picking it all up. I actually cut all the pieces and then applied the Stickles gel. I stuck the pieces down with our dot roller onto a piece of cardstock and smeared it all over in one go rather than trying to do each individual little piece. I didn't want to try and run the thin cut through with this already applied. And with this one here, I've actually cut 3 of the Starburst frames. So that one looks really, really cool. And the next one that I've made, I've used Stickles glitter gel and Nebula and the holographic paper, and look how much that shines. It looks so, so cool in real life, and I love how this has really popped and would make a very special Father's Day card or male birthday card, or even for somebody who just likes anything to do with space. I'll put some still shots up at the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed what I've done with this very cool Sunburst background die. It really does pack quite a punch for just one thin cut. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.